Hello, hello. How's everybody doing? Okay, that was a little weak. Come on, guys. Those lunge. Give us a little bit of energy. How's everybody doing? Thank you. I appreciate that. My name is Jenna. I'm the Director of Customer Success here at Contentsquare and one half of your hosting duo today.
And I'm Andrew, VP of Product for Contentsquare, so I look after our DXA and DEM product. Standard two-factor authentication slide here, so you can see we haven't duped you with a different speaker. Security first. Also really pleased that you've all chosen us over wine. Thank you for that one.
Andrew, you know that they had to pre-book for that.
I did.
So the reason they're really just slackers. That's not they chose us over wine. So this is your reward. Welcome. Well, we're really excited to bring you here today, and we are going to go deeper and a little bit more in depth of what you saw this morning on the main stage with Mo and Lucy. My clicker will respond, and it's going, I apologize, it seems to be delayed on the bottom, so give me a second while we get our stuff together. But we hopefully had a really exciting message for all of you as Contentsquare customers and for those who are prospects in the room for all of the interesting things that we're investing in to help you level up your CX and your UX game. We are bringing a plethora of new and exciting features to Contentsquare, as well as investing even more in some of the iconic features that you use every day, and bringing it, more importantly, into one platform. And we're going to dive into some live demos with Andrew to show you the power of how that's going to help you go from the macro to the micro and really understand your customers. I think, quite importantly, understanding from you guys, and my one challenge for you today is to walk away from this and think, even apart from our presentation, I'd just like you to think about what are you going to do? What's your team going to do? What's your company going to do to level up your CX game this year? But before we get started, I wanted to address an elephant in the room. We have been throwing a lot of new acronyms at everybody, and it's starting to feel a bit like alphabet soup. Anybody a little confused about all these new acronyms that we've been throwing at you today? You're like, I don't think I bought any of those tools. Why are we here? Well, we're going to decode it a little bit because we're going to throw acronyms at you in the presentation. So I'm going to go through them in order. If you've ever bought Contentsquare for web or for apps, raise your hands. Awesome. You are the DXA crowd, Digital Experience Analytics. Anybody that has bought Find and Fix previously, raise your hands. Great. Okay, you are our DEM crowd, which is Digital Experience Monitoring. Anybody purchased product analytics, either with Contentsquare, Heap, or others? One person. Sweet. Salespeople, you got a lot to do. You are our product analytics, our PA. And then finally, voice of the customer with, again, our partners or with Contentsquare or Hotjar Ask. A few people have VOC? Great. So voice of the customer. Everybody aligned? We're not going to go through this again, so you can take a photo if you need it. But where are these coming from, right? We decided to really align what our products are doing to make sure that we can help you more efficiently support your journeys and your customers' end-to-end experience. We're bringing these three platforms together. We're bringing these three companies together to allow you to look at every session across time, as well as that in-depth look at your customer's experience and all the data you're capturing today with Contentsquare. So, what are we hearing from you, and why are we doing all of this? I think today we're going to go through three top themes that Lucy and Mo went through in a little bit more detail and give you a lens of why we're investing in them. Every time I talk to a customer in 2024, I'm hearing these four things. I'm hearing that resources are scarce. I see nodding heads in the room. I'm hearing budgets are tight, tighter than ever. I'm also hearing that competition out there is getting fierce, whether that's for dollars, time, attention. I'm also hearing that data is more critical than ever. So everything that we are investing in at Contentsquare is to make sure that we're addressing these issues for you, the digital experience teams, to make sure that you can most efficiently find the problems in your end-to-end journeys, address them, and make sure that you're really investing your resources in the most efficient and impactful ways possible. And we also want to make sure that it's easier than ever for absolutely everyone in your organization to have the power of data and analytics in their fingertips, and there's no more bottlenecks. You've got to give the keys away. And so we're going to be doing that through the three different lenses that we talked about. So first one up, artificial intelligence, AI. I actually really enjoyed the good AI presentation as well. It made me think a little bit less scarily about where AI could go, although she scared us at the end. So artificial intelligence, my lens on this, again, back to that resources piece. Not thinking particularly scary or changing exactly what we're doing, but what I really want us to think about when we're investing in this is think speed. Again, with that resource issue, everything that we're going to be bringing into the platform that is today live for you to get your hands on is going to allow your teams to flywheel, to move more quickly, to be able to get insights faster and get to the problems and to the opportunities faster. The other thing I'd like you to think about is think opportunity. Anybody remember these? I loved these when I was a kid. I went cross-eyed. They're the magic numbers. I'm going to let you stare at it. Hopefully somebody sees it by the end of it. Give you a little shout out if you do. But I think with AI specifically, it's not just what you're looking at today and doing it faster. It's what you're not looking at and what you physically can't get to because you have your routines, you have limited time. So what we're going to put in your hands and what's live in the platform is a way for you to find maybe the obvious or the not so obvious insights and be able to action them. And with that, I'm going to give you over to product royalty himself, Andrew, and he's going to walk you through the things that are live in the product today that are practical AI for you to use. Andrew?
Thanks, Jenna. So what you hopefully took from the session this morning is that we're taking a slightly different take on AI. Like, let's be honest, there's a lot of hype, or I could use another word out there in the marketing about AI. And a lot of it is just AI for AI's sake, right? It's not actually genuinely useful. What we're really trying to do in the platform is make sure that we have genuinely useful, practical applications of AI that are helpful in your day-to-day job. So I'm going to jump into the platform in a second. And there's a bit of a theme here. You're going to see these. Demo time.
We keep joking, and we sound like we're MC Hammer up here. Stop, demo time.
You'll get into it. There's two more of these. So we could pivot. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a live demo of some of the AI capabilities that we have in the platform today and how they are practical and how they're usable for your teams. So first of all, for those of you who are existing Contentsquare users, hopefully you've experienced our new homepage. It's been refreshed. It's a lot easier to use, and we're putting things right in front of you. One of the most obvious applications of AI here is our frustration score. So this is basically the platform figuring out from how you behave on the site, whether you're frustrated, whether you're not frustrated. And what you can do here is start to dive in. So you can see how this is basically trending over time. So in this case, actually this is good. The frustration seems to be trending down. But if it was trending up, for example, then you've got some obvious next steps of where you would go. You could dive into session replay. You could dive into page comparator. But you see here, the platform is also prompting you about steps you could take next. So what could you do next to start to investigate this? So in this case, where we've got a drop here, one of the things it's suggesting that you do is start to segment this by different device types to see if that drop is consistent across all of your channels, or maybe that's just something that's happening on mobile, but maybe your desktop is still frustrating. So that's one application. This application, which sits inside PA or Product Analytics, is probably one of my favorite of just being super practical, because what it does is it takes out admin. And let's be honest, nobody likes admin. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start to build a chart. Okay? So I'm going to look at all checkouts, all confirmations that happen, and I'm going to group that based on where you landed on the site. So what you can see at the moment is that we don't have a title for this chart, and we don't have a description for this chart either. As soon as I hit view results here, you can see that the platform automatically builds that, right? So this is amazing because if you share this with someone now, it's telling you what this chart is about. So anybody that receives that can automatically understand why you've built that chart, what it's actually showing. You've also got an automatic title that's presented here. And if you use this a lot, that starts to build consistency, right? Because the platform's going to repeatedly name it based on what you select here. So it's, for me, a really good example of something that's practical. It's not about marketing hype. It's just useful in your daily life, and it takes away a lot of the admin. What you saw this morning was Copilot, our chat interface. So I'm actually going to demo this live. So again, this is inside of our Product Analytics platform. So what I can ask it is basically just a plain English question. So for example, which PDPs have the most traffic? And it's basically going to go away, and it's going to build a chart. What I think is super important about this is it's not just spitting out a number, it's actually showing you a chart that you can use and you can build in the rest of the platform. So as an onboarding tool, if you've got new members coming into your teams, this is actually showing you that this exists. And I honestly have used this to onboard myself in Heap. So I came from the Contentsquare side of the house, and it's really useful for just learning what is available to me. Can Heap or Product Analytics, can it basically show me a bounce rate? Just type in here, what is the bounce rate? And it shows you a chart for it. It's also conversational as well, so I could then say which ones have the best conversion rate. And it remembers the context of what I've put in before, and now it starts to break down my PDPs based on their conversion rate instead of just their traffic. What you also see here is understand my approach. A lot of AI feels a little bit like a black box, right? It spits out a number, you don't really know what it's done, you don't really know how it's got there, and therefore you don't know whether to trust it or not. But you can see here it gives you a breakdown of exactly what it's done. So it's chosen the event of PDP, so basically viewing any PDP. It's chosen the confirmation event or the transaction event as basically viewing the checkout order confirm. And it's also telling me that it's using the path property to group them. So that's why we've basically got it grouped like this. And then it tells me the date range over which it's analyzed this as well. So super useful for being able to learn the tool, understand what it's about. If you want to jump out and then go and tweak that analysis, you absolutely can. If you want to continue conversing with this, you can as well. But most importantly, it's telling you how it got there, so it's not a black box, and it will genuinely speed up your usage of the platform. And if we can pivot back to the slides, please.
Amazing. Thank you so much for walking us through that. I hope you guys have seen that we're really interested in investing in faster time to insight with absolutely every touch point, and AI is going to be a pivotal part of that for you moving forward. If you have any questions about this, your CSMs and your account managers are happy to talk to you about how to bring this into your daily routines, and these are all live in the platform, so very excited to show them to you live. The second lens that we're going to talk today about that Lucy and Mo introduced this morning is voice of the customer. And I think what's probably been heard is I just talked about AI, and what you might have heard me say was, let's get rid of all the humans. That is absolutely not what I'm saying. And the voice of the customer is the exact example of that. Really, what we're saying is that we need to be smart about our resources and looking at absolutely all the data. And now that all of these are going to be in a combined platform, we're going to be able to do that and more seamlessly understand both the quant and the qual data. And voice of the customer is a key thing to be listening to. When your customers are talking to you, you should be listening. It's your responsibility as digital experience makers. And we also talk about this all the time, but we have to walk the walk. We have to actually put our customers at the heart of everything we do. And we need to look at their responses to really decode when they're having issues or when they're having trouble doing something on your site. Now, bringing that into Contentsquare, just want to reference in the room because a few people before the session said they weren't really sure what we were talking about. This is kind of a classic NPS voice of the customer journey and what you can do today already. So we start with really helpful feedback from a customer. Your site's rubbish. Okay, great, thank you. What do I do with that? Well, in Contentsquare today, the first thing you're gonna have to do is figure out, is this an error? Is this something where the site is not performing as expected? Or is this poor UX where they're just confused and they can't accomplish the specific outcome that they're trying to do on their site? Today, when you determine that, you're gonna go into two different parts of Contentsquare. You're either going to look at digital experience monitoring, which is that performance aspect to see, was there an error causing this? Or if it's poor UX, you can dive right into session replay, see if they're having unintended journeys or maybe getting confused by specific content or prompts. And the most important part of that in Contentsquare's product is, of course, impact quantification. We talk so much about resources being tight. You need to make sure you're investing your resources where they can have high impact and really important conversion rates for your customer, for your business. So more important than ever, we need to be able to bring these data points together and allow you to quickly understand those issues. With voice of the customer now coming into Contentsquare through our own surveys, you're going to be able to take this even further and be able to take AI into this process as well. I'm going to hand it over to Andrew to talk a little bit more about the Contentsquare solution for this and a little bit about our differentiators.
Thank you, Jenna. So yeah, before I dive into our VOC tool, I just want to make one thing really clear. If you already have an existing integration with a third party that offers VOC capabilities, we will of course continue to honor those integrations. We will of course continue to operate that as it operates today. So what is our VOC tool all about? So first of all, obviously we have the value prop of bringing the quant data and the qual data together. As Jenna said, quite often the most valuable thing to do is to dive into a session replay, understand why people have given you that particular feedback, but then crucially quantify it, see how many other people are having a similar struggle or a similar complaint if they are complaining in VOC. So that's really the value prop. What's a bit different about our tool is really the ease at which you can implement it and then the ease at which you can use it. So on the implementation side, if you're an existing Contentsquare customer, you have DXA or DEM, then you can deploy VOC through existing Contentsquare tag. So you don't need to get anybody to deploy a new tag through Google Tag Manager or something like that. We literally toggle a switch and it's on. Once you've got that set up, it then comes to actually building a survey and deploying it. Again, we've got AI to really help you here. I'll show you a demo of that in just a minute. So you can basically ask the platform that you want it to build a survey for a particular goal or particular pain that you think you're having, and it will build the survey for you. And then once you've built your survey and you run it, you're going to get a load of responses, and probably a lot of responses. And reading through those one by one is time consuming. Again, AI is here to help you. It's going to summarize all of those responses. It's going to give you an idea of the sentiment, and it's going to tag some of those responses as well, so you can see whether it's potentially a bug or a UX issue or something like that. And here we go. Next slide.
Stop. Demo time.
2 of us. Got 2.
That's why we're friends.
Going up. Okay, so initially I thought I should start this demo by showing you how easy it would be to turn it on. And then I thought it would be pretty lame if I just toggled this from left to right, but I've shown you it anyway. But literally that's all we need to do.
That's it.
That is genuinely all we need to do. So like I said, you don't have to go and deploy a tag through Google Tag Manager. If you've got Contentsquare tag running on your site, we can deploy VOC directly through that. Then what's going to happen is we've done a few things here to make the transition really seamless. So you can see here that I'm inside of Contentsquare, inside of our DXA platform, and our new left-hand nav here that we released this week. You can see at the bottom here we've got Voice of Customer. So when I click on that, I jump straight out, and I'm now inside of our Voice of Customer tool. And you can see that I didn't have to log in again. So you've basically got seamless transition across to here. So the first thing you're going to want to do is build a survey, okay? So if I click on New Survey over here, you can see at the bottom, we've got this little sparkle here that basically says Generate from Goal. Wherever you're seeing this is basically an AI-powered feature. So I click on this, and it's asking me what's the goal of your survey. So for example, I could say, find pain points, it's hard to type under pressure, on the PDP. Click on Generate Questions, and then AI is going to do its thing in the background, and it's going to generate this survey for me. So basically what it's going to do, it's going to generate a survey that has 3 questions. You can see the first one here is on a scale of 1 to 5, how clear was the product information on the PDP? So it's understood from me just saying it's PDP that this is a product details page. How easy was it to find relevant details on the product page? And did you encounter any obstacles while trying to add a product to your cart on the PDP? And you can see as I hover over these, it's on the bottom right down here, it's giving you a preview of each of those. So you can deploy it by toggling a switch. You can then use AI to generate the survey. I could then click Create, and that's going to start running on the platform, and you're going to start getting that in front of users, and you're going to start getting some feedback. Just going to switch account here quickly to show you what happens next. So bear with me 2 seconds.
These are the moments that cause the most stress.
Bear with me. Okay. So you've deployed your survey. You've run it, people start to give you feedback. The next thing you need to do is to be able to analyze that feedback, okay? So if I click View Responses here, you can see there's quite a lot of responses. So that would be a lot to go manually trawl through and understand exactly what's going on. But at the top here again, you can see we've got this AI report. So I click on this, and I click View Report, and basically what it's going to do is it's going to summarize all of these different pieces of feedback for me. So here it's saying that users are experiencing difficulty with the site navigation. There's a critical issue with form submission. Users can't click the continue button. There's an inability to purchase items such as shoes, and that seems to be a significant problem. Multiple users have had a negative experience due to broken functionality on the site. So basically it's trawling through all of those responses and providing a summary. And then to back it up, you've got some quotes that people have basically typed, which are, well, not favorable reading, let's put it that way. So if I go back here and look at each of the individual ones, you can also see the AI at work here as well. So you can see that it's recognizing that there's a negative sentiment here with a pretty sarky comment. When faced with the question of what would you like us to improve, someone has put, make it work, which is lovely. Down here as well, you can see some of its tagging as well. So it understands this is a bug, it understands this is a UX issue. So there's a lot of AI going on inside the VOC here. And then obviously the power next is being able to dig in and see why did we get that feedback, okay? So if I click on this, I'm going to jump out now into DXA with a combination of DEM to see why people have given us that particular feedback.
I think everybody's really wishing they had written down the acronyms now, right?
Okay, so first of all, it drops me in the replay just before the issue is about to start. So actually, I'm just going to pause here. If you didn't get this from this morning's session about what's changed in replay recently, it's mostly the timeline. So the timeline before was based on individual page views. What you're looking at now is the entire session. So that's super useful. You can see it's dropped me in here a few pages in, and now I can see why this person is about to complain. So what you're going to see here is this person clicks on Add to Cart, and not a lot happens. You can basically see there's a long-running loading spinner, and they're clicking away, nothing happens. And then interestingly, you can see actually this is the point where they pivot to the survey, they give you negative feedback, and they go ahead and they write their sarky comment. So we can see what the problem is, right? We can see that they're clicking multiple times on Add to Cart, but at this point, we don't know why that is occurring, right? What we've also been doing is upping our game on our DEM capability. So one thing we can do here is if we look at this, we might assume that this is some kind of potential API call timeout or something like that, right? There's a click that happens, and there appears to be some kind of delay before that item's added to the cart, and in this case, it looks like it never happens. What we could do is we can open our run waterfall. That's not a drinking game.
Should be.
I've worn that joke out internally, but I'm glad I got a few laughs from this audience. So you can see here that this is not a timeout issue, right? All of these responses are coming back in about 70, 80 milliseconds. So we can understand from this, okay, doesn't look like it's a timeout, but we see here that we're getting a 400 response. Okay, that's an error, which is quite interesting. If I pivot back here, we can also see that we've detected there's an error here, and I can jump into it. But what we've also changed recently is the depth and the granularity that we can get to. So now I can look inside of that response, and what I see here is that it's not able to recognize the SKU. So we've gone from understanding there's an issue, from one person raising a piece of feedback, then being able to view a replay to see what's happened, then being able to dive in and see why it's happening. So now I've got something really compelling that I can give to my dev team and say it's not able to recognize the SKU when this particular product is being added to the cart. All of this before was encrypted. We've now changed that so you have the choice. You can choose whether you encrypt it, don't encrypt it. The benefit of not encrypting it is that we can now do something with it inside of the tool. So we can now take that and quantify it. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm asking the platform how many other people had a session where an API call responded with that message where it didn't recognize the SKU. And what you see here is it's not very many. So it's actually only 5. And what I want to really make the point on here is that is also a very positive outcome, right? I'm sure a lot of you have execs that come up to you and say, hey, this happened to me on the site last night. Can you look into it, right? Happens all the time.
Yeah, the nervous laughter
Super
tells me
annoying,
that
right?
happens.
Super annoying. But what you really need to be able to do is to be able to say, yeah, okay, genuine issue, right? It's happening to 10,000 people. We're on it, super high priority. Or you need something like this, which can basically say, yeah, okay, it's a bug, but it's a real edge case. It's like you and 4 other people that's experienced that. So
Sit down, Mr. CEO.
Exactly. So yes, we'll deal with it. It will go in the backlog, but look, it's not something we're going to fix today. So that's an end-to-end flow of how we can go from VOC, how we deploy it, how we generate the questions, how we understand the questions both using the AI, and then how we jump out to be able to see what's really happening, understand it, and then quantifying it. And with that, we'll pivot back to the slides for our last section.
Thank you so much. And if anybody is wondering about using the Contentsquare VOC tool, as Lucy had mentioned on stage, it actually is a part of the Hotjar Ask tool that was there originally, a proven tool that is out there, and we'd be happy to talk to you more about if that wants to be part of your suite if you don't have a VOC tool now. I think I went a little too far. I'm actually really most excited about this last one. I don't think you're allowed to have product favorites because all the product people in the room will then not talk to me. But I'm really excited about product analytics. Why am I excited about it? Because as we said, every single visit counts, and not every single critical action and journey happens in a single session. So you're really missing a huge part of your customer experience if you're not looking at every single touch point and tying it together. One thing I heard when I was out in the pavilion earlier was a couple of people saying, but wait a second, what is product analytics? So I'm going to preempt that. From our lovely heap.com, this is the definition of product analytics, and you're welcome to take a look at this, but really it just narrows down to that. It is giving information to digital teams to stitch together every single interaction over time to understand an end-to-end customer journey. Now, a few people also said, wait a second, didn't I already buy product analytics? Like, isn't that what Contentsquare was? The key differentiation here is over time. Clearly gonna take the stage down. The time factor is really where you start to see the differentiation. And of course, you're already looking into user experience, conversion, engagement, but what product analytics is going to layer on top of that and augment is being able to look at that session and conversion over time, or maybe multi-channel or multi-platform experiences. People that are in FSI and financial institutions, this happens all the time, right? You're not going to apply for a mortgage all in one go. You also may be more interested in someone's usage patterns as a customer and whether they're continually or habitually using your product correctly. If you're in a travel industry, we saw even this morning with Oz from TUI, that is a very involved purchase and conversion process, and the interaction goes far beyond even just that conversion or interaction. So product analytics is something that's really already something most businesses with those end-to-end journeys and multi-channel, multi-platform experiences, they're already obsessing over. I've also heard a lot of retailers say, but wait a second, I actually do have people transact only in one session. We sell shoes. Well, I hate to tell you, looking at the actual data from Contentsquare's digital benchmark report, we can actually tell you factually, even simple journeys are now complex. People that are looking for purchases are now starting into the rise of grazing. We've seen consumption decrease dramatically in the last year, both on mobile and on desktop. In fact, 60% of customers' journeys, over 35 billion sessions that Contentsquare collected last year, showed a decrease in time spent and the number of page views viewed. So even simple journeys now have multiple touch points, and you're missing the key actions that are happening if you're not tying those experiences together. So right now, I hear a lot of customers obsessing over this first part. That was a lot louder, sorry. Improving conversion, but we see so many levels of interaction that you need to be paying attention to. And also some business metrics that are becoming more and more critical than ever, like cohorts of retention. Are our customers returning? Are they buying more than once? What's their lifetime value versus just the average order value in their basket? And these are questions that product analytics is going to help you answer and make sure that you're really driving meaningful outcomes for your business for every part of your customer's journey. I'm going to hand it over to Andrew to show you how this can weave together and the braid between product analytics and digital experience analytics. And if you have any other questions, we'll be coming back to show you a bit more to have another wrap-up afterwards.
Cool.
Andrew?
Thanks, Jenna. So yeah, I just want to reiterate what Lucy said this morning, right? This part of the market is known as product analytics, and that tool in that market is I think it's genuinely seen as something that works with a SaaS platform like ours, right? Something that we would use on Contentsquare.com. And it's phenomenal at doing that job, but it can do a lot more than just work on SaaS platforms. And I think this is really the key thing that I want to get across here. I'm going to show you a few examples in a minute, but when we talk about product analytics, don't think of it as just for product organizations, just for SaaS companies with an application like Contentsquare. Pretty much every journey, like Jenna just talked about, is becoming a lot more about multiple touch points, multi-session, cross-device, and really what these tools do is they give you the ability to tap into it, to be able to understand it. Combining PA and DXA, product analytics and digital experience analytics together, you can really get that top-level view of what are your users doing across time. And then when you spot something interesting, you can really then drill into the detail of an individual session to find out why do they do it, why are they behaving in that particular way. So we go to the key slide. Let's see how many we can get.
Demo time.
One.
No one's
We're
laughing.
getting worse. We're getting
All right.
worse. All right, so there's lots of industries that can benefit from this. Obviously, we're going to have industries like financial services where, for example, you might see something like this where you have a classic button to open an account. And what often happens is when you land on a page like this, there might be a little warning that says, hey, you're going to need your passport or your driving license or something like that to be able to complete this journey. For those of you that work in FSI and put those warnings at the front, thank you for that, because it's really annoying to get halfway through and figure that out. But you might start this or go to start this and realize you're not going to have all of the information that you need to be able to complete this, this application journey in one session. And so you're going to need to come back at some future point to be able to complete it. What we really want to understand is of all the people that click on this and start this, how many complete it? We don't necessarily care if they complete it in a single session or if they complete it in 2 sessions or 3 sessions. What we care about is whether they complete it at all. And that's the kind of question that product analytics can help you answer. I'm actually going to show you a retail example because, like Jenna said, there's a lot of transactions that do happen in a single session on retail, but there's also a lot of functionality that exists that is intended for multi-session use. So for example here, on this product details page, we've got this add to wish list functionality. The intention of that is not that you add it to the wish list and then your wish comes true 20 minutes later, right? The intention is that you add it to a wish list and in some subsequent session you go on and you purchase that. So of course we can look at individual session conversion, but that's probably not the best metric to use to analyze that. Oh, I'm still live here. Okay.
We're back.
Okay, we're back. So yeah, that's probably not the best metric to use to analyze that particular element on the page. So what DXA, we're
Pause just
not
a
back
second.
again.
We are not back.
Describe what you see, Andrew.
There's a
Use your
shoe,
imaginations.
there's a add to wish list button, and it's got a number on it. And when I look at multi-session, that number's going to get bigger.
This is always the
We
problem with live
pivot back.
demos. Here we are.
Yeah. Do you want me to unplug this and plug it back in? Yeah.
This is the time to take your MC hammer to the next level.
Okay, we're back. Cool. Okay, so yeah, this button down here, we could analyze the conversion rate of an individual session, but it's probably not the best metric to analyze it against. What's more interesting is looking at, do people click on that and then convert in this session or any subsequent ones? And what we've been doing is we've been bringing some of the PA capability into DXA. So what you'll see right at the top here is we've got 2 new metrics. So the first one is retention rate after click. So if I select that, what this is going to show me is of all the people that click on this, how many return and have another session on the site. So what I can see is that for the people that click on this button, about 20% of that audience will come back and have a subsequent session on the site. So this is really useful, and again, we could use it on content like this, on something like an FSI site to see how good is this button at driving people back to the site to have subsequent sessions. It will also be useful in things like blogs as well. Are people engaging with your blog? Does that drive them back to the site again and again and again? So that's the first metric that's come across from PA into DXA if you take the PA package. The next one is this multi-session conversion. So what this is now showing me is of all the people that click on this, how many actually convert in this session or any subsequent session. The conversion rate for this button in single session is around 6%, but you can see when we start to analyze it across multiple sessions, it goes up to like 10.5%. So that is telling me straight away that people are coming back in sessions after this one and they're buying in those. What we can also do here as well is if you started your journey here on desktop and potentially you purchased on mobile or vice versa, this metric can take that into account as well. At the top here, we also have the opportunity to jump fully out into PA as well. So if you want to dig even deeper, then you can do that. So what I'm going to do here is look at multi-session conversion, and it's going to build a chart here, and it's basically going to show me the breakdown. So it's just looking at the page views here in this case. So of all the people that have viewed that product details page, how many go on to place an order? And it's telling me that 77% will do that in their first session, And then you can see that 11% will do it in the second, the third, the fourth, and so on. So you can really start to understand how many sessions is it actually taking people to achieve what you want them to achieve on the site. So, if you're an automotive company, for example, I go on car configurators quite a lot, and it takes me a long time to get through them. Quite often I don't buy because I'm looking at a Porsche, but when I'm serious, I will eventually buy. And it could be 4, 5, 6 sessions before I make that call to actually go and book a test drive, or as is becoming more common with cars now, to actually buy something online. And this will give you a really good view of how many sessions does it actually take people to complete your funnel. Final one I want to show you as well is we've built these 2 metrics into our page comparator functionality as well. So on the far right here, you can see multi-session purchase and user retention. What I'm going to do here is order all the different page types by the user retention. So you can see here, people that visit the actual wish list page, 76% of those visitors will come back and they will have another session. What's really interesting for me down here is the contact us page, okay? So the people that visit that page, only 1% of that audience will come back. That's probably a pretty good indication that when people are choosing to contact you, they're not happy about something, right? And they're complaining, and it's hurting your brand, and it's hurting them coming back to your site. So one really interesting thing that I would look into next is to see how are people getting to that contact us page, see if they're encountering any frustration before they choose to get to contact us, because clearly when they get there, it's pretty negative on them ever coming back to your site. So yeah, 2 new metrics that are embedded in DXA, but as you can see, we've also got bridges now between DXA out to PA. And with that, I think we'll pivot back to the slides.
Genuinely so excited about all of these investments. And just to recap the 3 things that we really touched on. First, we talked about AI that is live today across all the suites of different experiences we mentioned. So you can go live into Contentsquare and see how to leverage that in your day-to-day to make you most efficient. The second is our Voice of the Customer tool that we have launched that's on the Contentsquare platform, and you do need to talk to your team about adding that to your product suite if you're interested. So please talk to your customer success and your account team about how to bring in that voice of customer and that qualitative data to really understand what your customers are telling you. And then the third is our product analytics tool. And again, something that you can add onto your package if you're interested, and we'd be happy to chat through that with you. But I'm genuinely also excited because this is just the beginning, and you're going to see more and more things launching from Contentsquare as we bring all of these amazing capabilities into one platform to really empower your CX teams to build delightful experiences. If you have any questions, our customer success team is always there to answer, so please reach out, and I'm really excited to take the next journey with you guys. My name is Jenna.
And I'm Andrew, and can I just say, please, please, please go and visit the product pavilion. On the PA booth, we have VJ, who is basically in charge of building out all of the analytics capabilities that you saw inside of PA. We also have Anna on the VOC that can take you through everything there. And I actually don't know all the people that are on DXA and DEM, but go and have a look at those booths. We've got some partners out there as well. So please, it's just at the front as you came in. Please go to the product pavilion if you want to dive deeper on any of these subjects.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening.